Hello. Today I'm gonna discuss a new paper published on Nature Metabolism by Anna Valdez, uh, London, King's College. The title is Postprandial Glycemic Dips Predict Appetite and Energy Intake in Healthy Individuals. Basically, Anna is showing that hunger, appetite is in part due to the postprandial hypoglycemia dip caused by uh, uh, hyperinsulinemia. This study was conducted in almost 1,000 healthy participants from UK and US had been following for 2 weeks at home. That's important, at home, not in a research setting. And these people have consumed breakfast, standardized meals, especially breakfast, and their glucose levels, plasma glucose level, has been recorded with glucose continuous glucose monitoring. That gives a lot of power to this study. Now, as you can see here, in blue, this is these stars signs the beginning of the glucose rise in response to a standardized meal. This is the average of the experiment. As you can see, as basically there is an increase in glucose that peaks around 1 hour, and then there is the usual decline in glucose levels that around 2 and 3 hours become negative. So there is an hypoglycemia. So there is a glucose dip. And the results of this well-conducted study is that basically the higher the glucose dip, the higher is the response in terms of reported hunger. So people that are feeling, the people who have the higher reduction hypoglycemic response, they feel more hungry, and they also have a shorter time until next meal. On average, is basically 24 minutes, and they have also a higher energy intake that on a 24 hours is in excess of 312 calories on average. So that explains how important is this predictor, because yes, in this study, the main finding is that it's not the glucose peak or the area under the curve of glucose rise, but is the glucose dip, who is highly correlated with hunger and higher energy intake postprandially. So I think it's a very interesting paper. As the authors have stated, this is the value, the prediction of this glucose dip is modest. It's not, it doesn't explain basically everything. It's a small contributor, but still is physiological significant. And as the authors suggest, there are other factors like social, psychological, physiological that are probably responsible, including the exercise patterns, the meal patterns, the meal quality in the days before the experiment. So I think it's a very interesting paper. If you want to know more about me, you can find information on Wikipedia or Google Scholar about my publication. Here there are some technical articles published in Science and Cell, summarizing my research and and other people research in my field, is nutrition and longevity, calorie restriction, dietary restriction, longevity. And finally, I recently wrote a book called The Path to Longevity for lay people that summarizes my research and my clinical practice and what we have been discovered in the last 20, 30 years about what are the important determinants of healthy longevity. Thank you for listening.